Okay, isn't this fun? This is our first ever group chat. And the group I
Yeah.
have for you today is my team. This is the Compared to Who team. So I've not really introduced the team to my podcast listeners and YouTube viewers before. So I'm excited that they are all here. And today we're going to have a conversation about comparison. And we're going to get real about all the different ways that comparison has shown up in our lives. We're going to talk about some of the strategies we've used to overcome comparison, what we've learned, what maybe we're still learning, what the Lord's still teaching us. But I am glad you are here for this conversation. It's going to be special. So let me start by introducing you to the team. I'm going to start with Tara. Tara, if you would just tell everyone what you do as a part of the Compared to Who team.
Yes, I would love to. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited for this. As Heather said, I'm Tara, and I basically just do coaching now, and it is one of the big, greatest gifts that I have been able to do. So I coach Heather's Freedom Framework, Body Image Freedom Framework class, and I walk the groups through the 12-week program. We start with 8 weeks. And I'm also just privileged to be part of the 40-day journey. And I get to sit in and just be a part of that and just really speak into the lives of all of us here who have struggled with body image. And I'm just so grateful to be a part of the team. And then I just kind of do whatever else Heather needs. And any way I can help, I'm here, because the freedom I've gained through this is just so life-changing. And I just want to give it back. I want to keep giving it back.
Oh, I love it. And just like there's 2 episodes, right? 2 episodes where Tara tells her story
Oh my
because
gosh. Yeah.
Tara started as a client, um, emailing me out of desperation around these issues. So you can listen to her whole story. We'll put those links in the show notes. But we're glad you're here, Tara. And also, I don't know if we should let the
Thanks.
cat out of the bag, but we've got a brand new program that
Ooh,
you are going to be
yes.
exclusively coaching for us called the Attunement Reset, which we've just
Mm.
recently licensed from an intuitive eating dietitian. And we are so excited about that. That's only going to be available to women who walk through the Body Image Freedom Framework course. That'll be available kind of as a last stage of your freedom journey. But we're excited about that. So, and Tara will be
Yes,
exclusively coaching that.
I am so excited about that. Yes, I cannot wait. What a beautiful addition. And just it's such a seamless transition from Heather's course into this. And so I'm so happy that we can now offer that too.
Hey, yay. Okay, Jackie, tell us what you do on the team.
Sure. Yeah, I'm Jackie. I am a social media manager along with Presli, and I mainly work on the YouTube or video content creation. But like Tara said, if there's ever a need, we all try to pitch in and help
Yeah.
wherever it might be needed. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, love having you, Jackie. You've been an awesome addition to the team. Presli, tell us about what you do.
Hi, I'm Presli. So, yeah, I'm the other social media manager that Jackie mentioned, and I help out with content creation and yeah, uploading stuff about the podcast to the social media pages to keep that going, and just yeah, whatever else Heather needs. And yeah, I also found Heather from the podcast, emailing her out of desperation. So I think that's a common thread among us here.
It may be. And if you want to learn more about Presli,
Yeah.
Presli has been the guinea pig for coaching. And so what we've done like 6
Yay.
episodes. So you're just like all out there with your fear of butter and all the things.
Oh yeah,
So if you
all my
haven't
business is out there.
if you haven't listened to those yet, you can go get to know Presli really well through listening to those episodes. But I appreciate your courage to do that, those live coaching sessions. That's been awesome.
Yeah.
Rachel, tell us what you do.
Hey, hey, hey. I am the just newest, most excited, I guess, rookie member of the team. I've been working with Heather for about 2 years now, and it's just been amazing the way God pulled me out of body image idolatry and being trapped there, and now getting to walk in freedom and getting to do that with a bunch of teenagers. And so I feel like my calling and my contribution to this team is going to be to love on the teenage girls in this arena and try to create content for them and put this in a language and a format that they'll want to interact with. So I'm just so excited to do whatever God calls me to, whatever the next yes is.
I love it. And I am so excited too, because I mean, I'll be honest, I turned 50 this year and I have a 16-year-old going on 17-year-old.
Yes.
But you are uniquely gifted to work with teens. That's just been your story and the way God has like led you so far. And so I am just really excited to see what's going to come of your addition and what we can create so that we can start engaging teen girls. And if you're a mom of teen girls, hey, you connect and you watch and wait and get all your mama friends to connect to. So you are ready because Rachel knows what she's doing on this front, and it's going to be good. So
it's going to be fun. It's exciting.
Yeah. Okay. Introductions aside, let's get into comparison. Now, actually, let me just maybe ask this general question first. Like, how many of you recognize that you were maybe a chronic comparer? Were you aware of all the ways you were comparing yourself to other people, or is it just kind of like an under the radar natural thing? Thoughts?
Oh my gosh. I'm so glad you asked that, Heather, because I was actually thinking about that this morning, because I realized that I had no idea, absolutely no idea that was even an issue. That was just something you did. I thought it was completely normal. I had no idea that it was a root of some of the most horrible, like just, bondage I was in. And it was actually reading your Comparison-Free Life, formerly known as The Burden of Better. That was the book that like it defined it for me. And I finally realized like, oh my gosh, I had absolutely no idea until you gave me the language. It was like compared to who hooked me and made me feel seen and made me feel like I wasn't alone. And then the Comparison-Free Life started me on that freedom of like, oh my gosh, this is so much deeper.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it's something that people don't know. Yeah.
They don't recognize it. What do you guys think? Jackie, did you recognize it?
Yeah, I think I recognized something was wrong, but if you would have asked me, I would have told you I was depressed. I would have told you I was anxious. I would have told you something was not right. I had this kind of overbearing feeling that something was wrong. And I didn't attribute it to comparison until I started working through my own recovery journey. So I'm part of Celebrate Recovery, and then I started working with you. And I think just having those words of like, oh, and then you see it everywhere, right? Like Tara said, then it's like, oh, wait, this is not just my body. This is showing up in my friendships, in my marriage, with my parenting. I mean, it's everywhere that I just see I'm either one up or one below, one up or one below. And that has been so eye-opening to actually give it the right name.
Yeah. Rachel, jump in.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, I've grown up in church my whole life. My daddy is a pastor, still is, in a big church in Texas. And so I knew, we don't need to compare. We don't need to compare. It's, you hear comparison is a thief of joy. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I know that. I didn't know how deep it went in my heart. And I didn't know how connected to sin it was in my heart. I mean, I didn't know that. Because like even just looking at before and after pictures of a weight loss program, that's comparing that person's body before and ever. I was doing it with myself too. So yes, you helped me put language to it. You helped me start to see what diet culture is and just how I was in such bondage. But I was so blind to it that the grace of God is what woke me up. But I thought I was doing good in that area as a good Christian girl, quote unquote. But come to find out, I was completely enslaved to that.
Yeah. Jackie, you said something subtly. I want to tie this back around. You said you felt like something was wrong. And I feel like maybe that is kind of a driver for our comparison. And Presli, this is kind of what you've talked about, in our coaching sessions, is that you have this deep feeling something is wrong with me when I look around really, I guess it's when I look around for identity, like who am
Mm,
I in
yeah.
relation to these other people around me?
Absolutely.
Like, Press, you want to talk about that at all?
Yeah. So I feel like comparison for me, I feel like I was more aware of it. It was more, but I maybe didn't have the language for it, but it was like a dirty little secret for me. It's like if someone could hear my thoughts, I would be so embarrassed. But it was like constantly, I knew I was measuring other people, like based on my insecurities. Like I've always hated wearing swimsuits. I feel like a man in a swimsuit. So I instantly, when I see other women in a swimsuit, I'm saying, do they look really feminine and nice in a swimsuit, or do they have a thigh gap? Are their legs big like mine? So I was aware of it, and like I would say chronically aware of it.
Mm,
So yeah, that's a little bit
yeah.
different for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, where are you now? Oh, Jackie, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to add to kind of off of what Rachel said. Like, I think part of the reason I didn't recognize it, I just recently was talking about the difference between jealousy and envy in one of my groups. And jealousy is, I never thought I was a jealous person because
Mhm.
there's kind of a negative attribute to jealousy, like, oh, I don't like them and I'm jealous of them and I want to take what they have, kind of like Saul was jealous of David, right? But he really he wanted to kill him. But envy is like, well, I admire that person and I'm kind of discontent, right? There's this
Mhm.
admiration that goes with envy. So I thought I just really love what they have and I
Mhm.
didn't see my idolatry in that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, so Tara spelled it out, but so my book, The Burden of Better, was really my book on comparison, right? And then no one understood that it was a book on comparison. So it's actually getting a makeover, which is irony of ironies for this show. It's getting a new cover, so you can
Woohoo!
judge the book by its cover. But it's going to be called The Comparison Free Life, and it should be available really soon. So if you haven't read that yet, I'd encourage you to do so. But yeah, I mean, I talk about really underneath our comparison, right? Is jealousy and envy and pride. I mean, okay, and covetousness to some degree, right? And jealousy, right? God is a jealous God. Like jealousy is often merited when someone has something that you're kind of entitled to. Like if your husband's talking to another woman, like it's okay to be jealous because he's yours. um, but if you hate that other woman because she has a great body and you wish you looked like her and you despise her for it, like that's just envy. Like you're not entitled to her body size or shape or whatever, right? Um, but the pride part, I don't know. I feel like even in the whole body image freedom journey, like seeing the pride is so hard because it's so sneaky, first of all. And when you don't like yourself, right? Or when you feel like I'm not doing as good as her, I don't look as good as her, like that can't be pride, right? At least that's what I think the enemy convinces us
Yeah.
of. Like, what do you guys think?
Yeah, if I think of this is the pride in me. If I'm thinking about pride in me, I picture him like a little tiny figurine. Like, yeah, I've got a little pride, because I want to look pretty, I want to feel good or. But the truth of the matter is it's this cancer that was in my entire body, mind, and soul. But I didn't see it as that because I feel like the enemy was like, it's just something small, just put it on the back burner. It's not a big deal. But through this, the grace of God is like, no, Rachel, it is a big deal. And what you're really craving is intimacy with me. And we cannot have that if you're coming at this wanting glory for you because glory is only for me. And so I've had to do a lot of business with that because in my own mind, I was really downplaying the role of pride in me, thinking I didn't really have that,
Yeah.
which is pride all the
Yeah.
way.
And I just remembered that you share your story on the podcast too.
Yeah, and it was so long, it's in two parts.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So we'll have to link to that as well. Sorry, I forgot to say that earlier. What about pride? Anyone else? Tara.
Yeah, well, it's just exactly what you said. And I think this was, oh gosh, this is one of the greatest gifts you gave me was to recognize. And okay, so follow me here. I did not even realize that I was priding myself on not having pride. Like that is where I was, because if you had asked me, I had so much self-loathing. I was so
Yeah.
insecure. I felt I hated myself.
Mhm.
I went through a period in my teens where I was suicidal. So that level of self-loathing, it was like, I could never have pride.
Right.
Because there's nothing about me that I see as anything good. And I think what then started to happen was, it was like that self-loathing, and that was gave me this false sense of humility. Like, I really misunderstood humility
Yeah.
as like this internal, like kind of like looking in and just being like, I'm nothing, I'm no good. And so when I came to you and thinking of things like pride and idolatry, it was like, oh my gosh, I have pride that I don't have pride. I have pride that I don't have idols. I don't worship a golden statue. I'm not like
Right.
those Israelites, turning earrings, not having any real understanding of that self-loathing. And I love how it's like, you say like what is it, the opposite side of the coin. It's like
Mhm.
the other side of the coin. It's just that it's still all about me. I
Yeah.
am at the center of everything. I am so self-consumed. How do I relate to my world? Everything around me is, how does it relate to me? How do I relate to it? And all my worth and value is tied up in, I didn't know anything about myself or who I was if I
Mhm.
couldn't compare myself to someone else. And
Right.
when I would compare to somebody, I was either better than, and so there comes the pride. But yet that wasn't me, that's not pride. That's just me disciplined and working hard and striving. Or it was such inner self-loathing that it was like, I'm so inferior. And
Yeah.
so I'm either puffed up or deflated.
Yeah. Well, and I'm thinking about the conversation we had in both groups of the 40-day journey with our big group sessions of the 40-day journey yesterday. We talked about shame, right? Because we were at that chapter in the 40-day body image workbook. And it's almost as if shame masquerades as humility, right? It's like, because I have
Yes,
shame, I
yes.
don't have pride. And
Yeah,
we are somehow like convinced that that's like being humble because we feel like so really like flawed, right? To kind of go back, like we feel like there's something deeply wrong with us
Yeah.
absolutely.
and take that as humility. But, that's, oh, it's so fascinating, right? The enemy is just, it just makes me angry how he robs our identity in that, right? And makes us feel like there is something wrong with us, makes us, fills us with that shame. We're convinced it's humility. So we don't see the pride and we keep comparing ourselves to other people, trying to, I
Yes.
think, feel better about ourselves, right? But instead, I don't know, that
Yes.
never works, does it?
Oh my gosh, never. It never works. And that's why I love in your comparison free life book, like you call it like the beast of burden, like the beast of better, right?
Mhm.
It's that it really is. There's no, you say there's no top rung to the comparison ladder. You never get there. It's just, you do more and you strive more and you're stuck in this vicious cycle and you're forever feeling less than. And you raised the question, and it hit me so hard when I read that book, which was like, how how do I even define better? Like,
Mm.
where did I get my definition? Why do I believe what I believe? And I think you're so right. Like, the enemy just gets in our head and our culture. Oh my gosh, our culture. We just fill our minds with these images from culture. And we believe that those are the truth. And we're striving. And I had to really ask myself, like, what is better even? What am I
Mm.
striving for? Because it's certainly not what God's saying in the Bible. It's certainly not what he talks about.
Right. Who's
Yeah,
better?
Jackie, I was thinking about when you said you just felt like there was something wrong. You know, if I think about, and I try to keep this verse in the forefront of my mind a lot, that the greatest commandment, God said, is to love the Lord your God with your heart, soul, and mind. And some versions say strength, okay? But in mind, my mind was so full of me that it couldn't be full of any of God because I was so concerned with what I
Yeah.
was going to eat for
Oh
breakfast
yeah,
or lunch, what my workouts were, what I was going to wear, who was going to see me today, how should I be, how should I be? And
for
yes,
sure.
in your comparison free life book, you say, Heather, comparison demands discontentment.
Mm.
It's like this job I didn't sign up for, but I work for it and I can't get out of it. It's like, wait, I'm an involuntary worker here and I can't quit because it's everywhere. And I don't know how to not be discontent. And I think that discontent is that dark cloud of a blanket in my heart and mind that is making me feel not right. When in reality, if I'll free my mind and just love God with my mind and spiral out looking for Him rather than imploding, spiraling in, trying to find what's wrong, maybe that would lift and maybe there would be that rest, you know?
Yeah, because it's like whack-a-mole, right? It's like, okay, I got my hair good. Oh, shoot. Now she's doing better at parenting. Okay, I'll hit that one better.
Yes.
Oh, dang. Like now she got a new car. Now what? Okay, we got to get a new car, whack-a-mole. Like, oh, yeah, I mean, it's just like there's always something else like where you got to keep up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what it makes me think of too is that as we're talking too, and I think about all the years I yearned so desperately for connection with other women. Like all I wanted was a friend. And I really just never, ever had a good, close, intimate friendship when I going through my teen years. And it's like God created us to be relational beings, right? He created us to be in relation with Him, in union with Him. And it's like when the fall came and that relationship, that first most beautiful relationship was broken, it's like, this is just such a reminder to me of how much our relationships get so broken by comparison. It's like we're striving so much. What we really are wanting is to connect, but we're so terrified and we're so scared that it's like we keep trying to be like, but I need to be better. And it's like we're trying to create these relationships in such a broken way. And it's like when we think of Jesus and how He talks about like the upside down kingdom, when it's really like in our weakest moments, that's when we are strongest. And it's like, if we were to just accept the vulnerability, I think we were talking about this in our 40-day journey, right? Like everybody's putting these masks on, everybody's trying to compare, and everybody's feeling this internal thing. And all along, if we just opened up and shared that vulnerability with one another and gave each other permission to not know, to be weak, to not be the best at everything, or to be better, would we then be able to finally connect in a way that I think so much of us yearn to?
Yeah, I think we have an epidemic of loneliness. And what I think happens is we get lonely, right? Because we are, like you said, Tara, we're disconnected from each other. And I mean, in comparison, like, okay, let's just kind of brass tacks, right? Like it is sin that separates us from God and other people, right? If you are envying a woman because she has a faster metabolism than you have, like you are not loving her well. You're not going to be best friends. You might have some sort of shallow friendship, but it's not going to bring you closer. And so we go to social media when we're lonely. And what does that do? It just like throws us in a pit even further, right? Like I have a little theory here, but like this hasn't been scientifically tested, but I honestly think I can tell how lonely someone is by how much time they're spending on social media. Because
I love it.
The more engaged you are there, I mean, you're not finding what you're looking for. And I've kind of watched it with people I know where I'm like, ooh, all of a sudden she's on there a lot. Uh-oh, is she doing okay? And like, that's kind of my signal. Like, I need to check in because she's been Facebooking way too much. Jackie.
Yeah, I just wanted to speak to what you just said about not connecting with others in a real way because you're comparing to them. And it's actually one of the things I thought about while I was preparing for this is just when I'm comparing to moms in particular, because I have two young kids, they're 3 and 4. And so I'm spending more time with moms of young kids. And it's so natural to compare my parenting, like, oh, am I doing a good enough job? Or, oh, I'm a little better than them. And it's always this kind of pull. And I think what I'm not doing when I'm in those moments is I'm not even thinking of them as a person. It's like they're just this object, right? We talk about objectifying people in our body image, but this happens in other ways too. So I think I've been recognizing that one of the solutions when I find myself in that spiral of comparing to another mom is to just get to know them and like invite them over and really become friends with them. And as I become friends with them, all of that comparison, all the walls come down and it's like, hey, they're just trying their best just like I am. And I can relax around this person now and I can love them well.
Yeah. You can't love someone well that you're hating. Right.
And I'm
Or
drawn to the
objectifying.
people.
Right.
I'm drawn to the people that are confident in who they are, that are not trying so hard. Because I heard this quote once
Oh,
that
yeah.
free people free people. So if I walk around free in who I am and I'm not trying to impress you, man, I might unlock something in you that you go, oh my gosh, I can finally rest. Like when someone is in my presence, I don't want them to remember what I was wearing, what did I look like. I want them to remember how they felt with me, because I want them to feel and see Jesus. So when I'm talking to them, I'm trying not to go, this is all about me, here I am. But if I live with the mentality of, there you are, there's always something that you can get to know about that person. When I go into restaurants and coffee shops, I'm always like trying to call people by name that work there, because like they're people. And we all, like you said, we just want to connect with those people. So I am drawn to the people who are not trying hard to impress me and who are just themselves. And that is, we just need so many women to walk around like that. Because that's, I tell you, that's what the younger girls want, is a free older woman to look up to that is not worried about what they weigh and what they eat and what they wear, but they just love Jesus and they're just trying to live their life for him.
And isn't it ironic, right? Because why do we like stress about what we look like, what we eat, what we wear? We stress about it because we're afraid we're going to be rejected, right?
Yeah.
Like it's so, oh my word,
yes.
it's so like spin cycle. Just what? But so I stress about how I look because I am afraid you are going to reject me. And so then I come into our encounter, our meeting, and I'm like, what do you think of me? Right.
Yes.
And you're like, not responding to that. And then that makes me go back and like, well, I must need to do better. I must need better hair. I must need to be thinner. I've got to watch what I eat more. It's like, now what do you think of me? And you still don't respond to that. And like all the time, what if I just changed and showed up as, there you are. I love that, Rachel. There you are. Right. Because what do we really want when we, meet someone else or, have the opportunity to sit down with someone else? We want them to see us and not like you said, not our hair, our skin, or our body. We want them to see our hearts. And we mask that by trying to be perfect on the outside or look like we've got it all together. Oh, the irony. Yeah. Okay. Let's continue. Go ahead, Jackie. You want to jump in with something? Go for it.
Sorry, I was just going to say, it's kind of like when you clean your house before people come over and you're like, I need to make it look like nobody lives here.
Nobody lives here. Yep.
Right. And we found in hosting that actually the less we clean our house, the more people love coming over because they just feel so comfortable and relaxed. Like, oh, okay, we know that we can come here and just let our guard down. And that's been something that's been really fun.
Yes, I no longer apologize for my messy house. I say, because I love you and we're great friends, you get to see my mess. And I'm not sorry for it because we live here.
Yeah. Although I say, and there's a blog post that has done really well. I think I might have done a podcast on it too. Like, I do think there's a connection between like how we take care of our house before someone comes over and where we're at with our body image issues. I think there's a little bit of a connection there. It's like, I want you to see my house as perfect. I want you to see my body as perfect. Absolutely. Right. So that might be a work in progress for a lot of people.